afternoon, everybody. I am Sergeant Arcazzoni, and I will be guys the medical threat brief for Fort Stewart, Georgia. Next slide, please. I work with the environmental health section in the Department of Public Health. Our chief is Captain Dan Lissa and Corporal Kidd, Corporal Gilliam, Garcia, and people that are the ones that work under our section. If you have any questions regarding this brief or anything else that's environmental health related, please feel free to reach out to any of the members, or you can also find them on Global. Next slide, please. The agenda. Today we're going to go over the purpose of the medical threat brief. We're going to go over the terrain and climate of Fort Stewart, Georgia, plants that are found in the area, animals, diseases, and then STI rate. Next slide. So the purpose of the medical threat brief is to pretty much inform all military and their families of potentially health hazards and individual preventive medicine measures necessary to preserve personal health and safety. That's pretty much a mouthful, but overall, what it means is let the soldiers and the families aware of any hazards, any threats that could harm, put them in harm's way, or their health in harm's way. Next slide. The Georgia terrain. So here in Georgia, I mean, it's pretty much a swamp. The coastal plain region is about of Georgia terrain. The last tropical storm was in 2019. Since 1851, only 20 hurricanes have made direct hits on Georgia. Talking about hurricanes, we're still in the season. That doesn't end until the end of October, beginning of November time frame. And then the last tornado was 2019. Year. So if there's any word about hurricanes or storms, just make sure you follow the guidelines of the emergency response teams and all the guidelines that come out from the MARN messages. Next slide. All right, so terrain and climate. So it's subtropical climate. We have pretty mild winters, about 40 degrees Fahrenheit on average, and then we have pretty hot summers, 94 degrees on average. Like I said, it's pretty swampy here. It does get pretty humid. In 2019, there were 80 that were reported from April to September. So casualties here are pretty big things. Weight to prevent building casualties. Make sure children are staying hydrated, that they're wearing the appropriate gear, and that they're not more outside of than they really need. Next slide. Plants. So we do have a couple poisonous plants on Fort Stewart, Georgia, and also Hunter. We have poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. So the easiest way to kind of prevent any of this is just don't touch a plant, especially if you don't know what it is. There's some pictures there so you can see how they look like, how each one looks like, but they are poisonous. So if you do come close to any plant like that and you develop some type of rash or blistering, make sure you are being seen at the clinic. Next slide. Animals. So avoid all wildlife. There are wild boars here, there's alligators, feral dogs, cats, coyotes, bats, and others. Rabies is a preventable viral disease transmitted by the bite of a rabid animal. Just make sure if you see a animal, don't try to pet it, especially if it is. Just if you see anything, politics and wildlife or whatever, or just leave it alone. Next slide. All right, so there are 6 venomous snakes found on Fort Stewart and also Hunter Army Airfield. First one is the southern copperhead, and there's a picture right there. So if you kind of see the away, or if a snake like that does bite you or someone you're with, and you're able to identify that it was a venomous snake, once you guys call 911 or the appropriate emergency um, personnel, that you do inform them that it was a venomous snake that bit whoever you or someone else. Okay. Next slide. All right, more on animals. So we have ants, we have bees, we have wasps that are capable of stinging. So if you are allergic to any of these things, make sure that you are carrying your EpiPen everywhere you go, and that you also wear your medical warning contacts. This way, medical personnel will take care of you appropriately, but if they don't know what you're allergic to or whatever the case is, and you have dog tags or whatever, it makes it a little harder to provide care. Next slide. More on animals. So these are all spiders, and the brown recluse, black widow, brown widow spider, and the striped and devil scorpions are in the area. So those pictures that you see, the black widow is the one with the kind of hourglass figure that's red, kind of under the belly portion. And if you see these animals, try to stay away from them, right? The brown widow spiders are the most common here. The brown recluse spiders are almost never seen in coastal Georgia. But like I said, if you see any of these spiders or anything, if they're not bothering you, do not go try to bother them because they are dangerous. Next slide. Diseases. So like I said, we do reside in a very swampy area that there's a lot of marsh and brush and all that stuff, and that's pretty much for tick live, right? So ticks carry Lyme disease, and they are a medical threat to this area. So if you get ticks that burrow into your skin, or even your pets, when they actually get them removed, they can actually use that tick test kit and put them into vials, and they will either turn it into the hospital lab, and then they can turn it into us, or the veterinary clinic, and they can turn it into us. We will send it out to public health for it to be tested for Lyme disease, because Lyme disease is actually a very, very serious thing, and sometimes you don't even get symptoms for months and even up to years. And when you do get the symptoms, it's hard for doctors to kind of know, one, that it is Lyme disease, and then two, after so long of you having it, it's harder to treat it. The faster it's treated, the better. Next slide. Mosquitoes. So mosquitoes are carriers of West Nile virus, dengue fever, encephalitis, Zika virus, and many more. Mosquitoes are their season right now here in Georgia ends about November-ish time. So once it starts getting kind of cold outside, you won't see that many mosquitoes out. Then just make sure that you're wearing your uniform properly, that you're using bug spray, or lotion and all that good stuff, because that will repel them. And scabies. So scabies is a skin infestation caused by the itch mite. So the rash is picture on the slide. So if you kind of see your skin, something, some part of your body kind of turning that way, just make sure to get seen at the TMC so you get treated appropriately. Right? Diseases, more diseases. So the flu, right? So the flu season is about to start. So we're about to have the flu and COVID once again all together. The flu is a viral infection that attacks your respiratory system. And it's actually more serious than people think. 30 deaths occur in Georgia every year. So it is serious. We will be posting for the Fort Stewart, Georgia Georgia, and Hunter. We will be hosting drive that we host every year. Next month, it's tentative right now, but in the next coming month, pretty much you will start hearing about, hey, get your flu vaccine and all that good stuff. So just make sure that you get your flu vaccine, because it is important to prevent the actual viral infection. Next. All right, another one, COVID-19. I'm sure we all have heard of this. It's a highly contagious viral disease transmitted through the air by coughing or sneezing in close contact. The way to prevent you contracting COVID-19 is wear masks, wash and sanitize hands often, socially distance, 6 feet apart, and receive your COVID vaccine. Next slide. Food poisoning. So food poisoning can be viral, bacterial, or parasitic infection that causes stomach and large intestine lining. So there's a couple examples like E. coli, Listeria, Staphylococcus, Salmonella, Tuberculosis, Campylobacterius, and monocytosis. The way you can get food poisoning is by eating contaminated food, touching dirty food surfaces, and eating undercooked food. So if you suspect that you have type of food poisoning or foodborne illness, that's the other term that we use, and you suspect that you got it from a dining facility here at Fort Stewart or at Hunter Army Airfield, please reach out to us, because my section is the one that will actually go out and do the investigation on that food facility, because they are inspected by us anyway, and we have to do that investigation to see if that's what made you sick or not. Okay, and also get seen by the so they can take care of you appropriately. Food poisoning and foodborne illness is not. It's a pretty serious thing. There's been deaths of it too. So it's a very, very important topic. Next slide. All right, now to STI, sexually transmitted infections. So we're focused on Georgia, right? So out of all 50 states, Georgia ranked for chlamydia 7th in the whole 50 states of the United States. For gonorrhea, they ranked 50th, the highest gonorrhea rate. For syphilis, they rank 4th, and for HIV, they rank 4th. Do you see how we're at least top 10 for three STIs? That's pretty important. So make sure that when you are any sexual intercourse, that you are protecting yourself, and that you know your partner's history, and that you know if they have any STIs or not. Next slide. These are some rates that we've collected over the years. So these are just focused on what we see at our clinic, Fort Stewart, Georgia, and Hunter for chlamydia. The year-to-date for 2020, 58, for gonorrhea 25, syphilis 4, for HIV 4. Previous year, 2019, 708 for chlamydia, gonorrhea 177, syphilis 20, and so it kind of looks like the numbers kind of went down. But it's very important. Georgia is, like I said, we're in the top 10 for STIs of the whole United States. So it's very important if you're not local to Georgia, if you're not, if you're new here and all that good stuff, protecting yourself, actually your sexual intercourse is up close, very important, because you don't know next slide. Alrighty, I guess that concludes my brief. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Lindsay. I'm of the Health Benefits Branch of Wayne Army Community Hospital, Fort Stewart, Georgia. Of course, we're located at the main hospital of Wayne. We're open from 0730 to 1615. And next slide. We're going to talk about post-deployment objectives, such as how to gain access to care while on terminal leave. And the second one, Transitional Assistant Management Program, for short, TAMP. That is this extended health benefits. Next slide. How to obtain access to care while on active duty. As a demobbing reserve component soldier, as you're demobbing, you may find yourself in two categories based on where you live. The first category, we're talking about a reserve component soldier that is demobbing, and you may have terminal leave. And understand, while on terminal leave, you're still on active duty. So the government is still responsible for your health care. But as a service member, you may find yourself living within the catchment of a military installation locally or dental facility locally within 30-minute driving time. Or the other category, you may find yourself in a demob status while on terminal leave as living outside the MTF catchment. Therefore, you may use another avenue of attaining access to care while on terminal leave, meaning that you live in at least 30 miles or more, 30 minutes or more beyond a military installation in the vicinity. Going back to the active duty service member living within the catchment. Therefore, while on terminal leave, you're still entitled to health care. So if you still live within a catchment of a military installation for care or for going on sick call, just use your local military healthcare system if you live within the catchment. All you would need to do is basically just follow up there, go to patient administration division to therefore get direction. An example, here at Fort Stewart, our fallback clinic is Hawks Clinic here, though it may differ elsewhere. Need for you to understand that point there. And then, therefore, for the most part, the second category, the active duty service member living outside the catchment of a military installation, meaning 30 minutes drive time or more. Therefore, you're going to have to use the insurance more. You're going to have to use the insurance more, especially for routine and urgent care facilities. Next slide. An example, when it comes to care, there's three basic categories of care you may need while on terminal leave, again, still on active duty. Is routine care. Routine care is something in which you may, go on sick call for some chronic issue or some onset kind of issue. Therefore, usually you would need a referral for that care or use the military healthcare system for that care. And then you have urgent care. Urgent care is care, therefore, for the most part, that not in emergency, but if not treated, can get worse, An example, migraine, headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, sprained knee, ankle, STIs, etc. Those are some examples of urgent care. Therefore, you may have to reach out and get referrals based on where you live outside the catchment area of a military installation. The third type of care is emergency care, where for the most part it's meaning the loss of life, limb, or eyesight. Therefore, no referral is required. As we move on, I will communicate more on these types of care, but I'll focus more on urgent and emergency care. Next slide. Now, could you go back? I'm sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. So, for those soldiers, like I mentioned earlier, if you on terminal leave in the catchment area of a military installation, just use the military healthcare system. Don't worry about using the insurance unless you go out of town or leave in that area. But focusing more on those that are living outside the catchment. They ain't no military installation. For urgent care, therefore, to keep you from getting a bill for the care that you need and deserve, it's best to reach out to the nurse advice line. The only thing you would need to do, reach out to the nurse advice line, as you see the number there. The nurse advice line is open 24/7, 365 days a year. Therefore, all you would need to do is just call them uh, and communicate, you give them your ID, and then they will ask for your symptoms. Then the nurse advice line staff, a nurse, will initiate the urgent care referral for you to use the urgent care facility in the area where you're residing. And they're open again 24/7, 365 days a year. The other category, emergency room care. Again, those soldiers that stay within the catchment of a military installation that have a hospital and an emergency room, if you're in the vicinity, therefore use that emergency room. Also, you can use that emergency room for urgent care. But for those soldiers that live outside the catchment, then therefore, or 30 miles beyond or 30 minutes beyond, then therefore use any emergency room in the area, and that's including those that is out visiting family. You have an emergency, stop at the nearest emergency room. No referral is required, but be sure that you provide the medical treatment facility with your insurance information. Your insurance that you are covered by as an active duty service member is TRICARE Prime. It is the HMO plan. So all you would need to do, they may ask you your insurance, you tell them, but then they will ask you your policy number. In reference to filing claims to TRICARE, you must provide them with your social security number and you as the sponsor, or you can use the benefits number back of your ID card. They must have either or of those numbers to file claims to TRICARE per the region that you reside in. Next. Let's talk about acute dental care. Acute dental care while on terminal leave. You're still on active duty. Now, for those service members that stay within the catchment of a military installation while on terminal leave, you have some acute dental issues. Use the military dental facility where you're at. Use the military dental facility for those types of things. But for those soldiers that stay at least 30 minutes or more from a military installation, if you have acute dental pain or things that you need to get done based on the injury or whatever, then you will need to reach out to Active Duty Dental, ADDP for short. As you can see, the number is posted before you receive care. Therefore, what will be coordinated, you will coordinate with Active Duty Dental, but you were going to have to be directed to a civilian clinic, dental clinic. So the coordination would be between Active Duty Dental, yourself, and the rendering dental clinic, civilian clinic that will be providing the service. I will note, do not get the service done or care rendered before you get the authorization from Active Duty Dental. As you see written there, they will not pay it before you get authorization. And that's for those soldiers that stay at least 30 minutes or more away from a military installation that have that resource. Next. Okay, now we're transitioning to the extended health benefits program called Transitional Assistant Management Program, short for TAMP. This benefit will establish or kick in the first day that you officially off active duty. Transitional Assistant Management Program, known as TAMP, is an extended program that will be given to you once you officially leave active duty. Matter of fact, the first day. What qualifies you for this benefit is because you are Reserve or National Guard service member. You were brought up on orders in support of a contingency operation for at least 30 days or more. So also with this, also with this, since you would have left active duty, then therefore, once you leave active duty as a service member, at that time, you're no longer on active duty. It's up to you which plan you prefer in reference to TRICARE that you prefer to function out of for these 180 days or 6 months. When it comes to TRICARE, there's two categories of plans. You have a HMO plan. That is the current plan that you're in as an active duty service member. HMO, Health Maintenance Organization Plan. And then you have your PPO, which is TRICARE Select, your preferred provider option. So then once you are off active duty, again, it's up to you which plan you prefer to function out of at that time. Now, also, with that said, also may play a factor which program or plan that you function out of versus PPO or HMO. The zip code may be a determining factor which coverage plan you may elect to function from. Okay, you elect to function from. So once you leave active duty, for those service members that may have other insurance, of course, once you leave active duty, you as a soldier, that other insurance before you was activated become your primary insurance, and TRICARE will be your supplement to that insurance once you leave active duty. And other things I'd like to just follow up with also is that the benefits is for 6 months, and these benefits is for yourself and your family. Please note that they are for yourself and your family, though eligible beneficiaries. Also, those service members that have TRICARE Reserve Select, if you have purchased that, of course, you would get this benefit, but please note, once you get 30 days out from leaving this benefit or this benefit ending, please reestablish your TRICARE Reserve Select. Please reestablish your TRICARE Reserve Select so you won't have no break in coverage. Next slide. Other important contacts, just please note that website up top, tricare.mil, is a good resource for everybody, especially those beneficiaries in TRICARE Select or even in Prime. But this site will point you out to doctors out there in the network, what's covered, etc. Very important website and a very important resource. Also, you have the TRICARE East region contact information. Of course, the contractor to provide the TRICARE for the East region is Humana. And then you have TRICARE West contact information. The contractor for the West is HealthNet. Also, reiterating the nurse advice line. Like I mentioned earlier, the nurse advice line is there open 24/7, 365 days a year for your usage. And also the number to active duty dental, and also United Concordia for your family or for yourself once you leave active duty. And also, if you have any questions related to military health benefits or your situation at hand, of course, you can reach out to the Health Benefits Branch of Fort Stewart, Georgia. Of course, our number is 912-435-6716. Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Amy Hendricks, and I am the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield Garrison SARC. And I will be giving you a redeployment brief on annual refresher sharp training. Next slide. Okay, so we're going to start talking about sexual harassment. And the definition for sexual harassment, it involves unwelcome sexual advances. It could be in reference catcalling. It is the Army describes sexual harassment as unacceptable and it will not be tolerated. And for all Army personnel, the policy applies 24/7 on and off the installation. There are two types of sexual harassment, which is quid pro quo and hostile environment. Quid pro quo is basically this for that. You do this for me and I'll do that for you. An example could be if you go out to dinner with me, I'll make sure that you're not on the duty roster. An example for hostile environment is basically you're being subjected to sexual advances or catcalling in the workplace. It could be screensavers, having new pictures on your screensavers. It could also be playing inappropriate music. And there are three categories of sexual harassment, which is verbal, nonverbal, and physical contact. And they're basically what they say. Verbal is what you say with your mouth, telling sexual jokes. It could also be used in terms of endearment like honey, babe, boo, sweetheart. We make sure that we're being careful using the terms of endearment. And the nonverbal category of sexual harassment is what you do with your eyes. You may look someone up and down. Example could be like the elevator eyes. The elevator goes up and down, and that's the way you're looking at someone. And physical contact is basically touching someone, inappropriate touching. It could also be cornering or blocking. If someone is trying to leave an area and you step in front of them so they cannot leave, that is a category of physical sexual harassment. Now, also when we talk about physical sexual harassment, there is sexual contact. Now, sexual contact is when you are touched or you touch someone in the hot spot areas, which is your breast, your buttocks, your anus, inner thighs, or your groin. And that is no longer sexual harassment. That will become sexual assault. Now, the way that you report sexual harassment, you have several options on reporting sexual harassment. First is the anonymous. You can make a report and not leave any type of identifying information so that we will be able to know who made the report. You can leave a note on your commander's desk. You can slide a note under the door, or you can just drop it on the harasser's desk as well. But basically, you're leaving a note or you're making a report without anyone knowing that you're the one that did it. And the informal way of reporting, you have three options to report informally, and that is the direct approach, third party, and your chain of command. Now, with the direct approach, you're going to go to the individual. That may take a little bit of personal courage for you to walk up to someone and say, hey, I know what you're doing. You know what you're doing is sexual harassment and needs to stop. Or you can approach them by sending a text or even an email. The third party, you can ask someone to speak to the harasser on your behalf. You have your SARC, for instance, you can go to your sexual assault response coordinator, let them know that you are being sexually harassed. You do not want to make a written report, but you do want it to stop. At that time, your sexual assault response coordinator will contact the individual, let them know that there has been a complaint of sexual harassment. And they will also let them know what could possibly happen if it does not stop. And then you have your chain of command. You could just talk to your supervisor. Your chain of command could be your first sergeant, and let them know that you're being sexually harassed, and let your first sergeant take care of it on their end. And if none of those reporting options work, you can also do a formal report. Now, formal report is done in writing. And all soldiers who file a formal report of sexual harassment has 60 calendar days. And those days start from the last time that you realize that you were being sexually harassed. Next slide. Okay, so now we're going to talk about sexual assault. And sexual assault is intentional sexual contact. It could be by use of force, threats, or intimidation. And sexual assault occurs when the individual does not or cannot consent. And when we talk about consent, consent is you are giving a freely given agreement to the conduct in the conduct at issue. That's basically you saying, yes, this is what I want to do. When we talk about consent A person that is sleeping, unconscious, or incompetent cannot give consent. Okay, so the Army policy for sexual assault does apply on and off the installation 24/7. Now, the way we report sexual assault, there are two options. For military soldiers, you have restricted and unrestricted. Restricted, basically, you want to file a report, but you do not want many people to know that you did it, that you made the report. So basically, you will file a report with your SARC, your victim advocate, or healthcare personnel. We are the only individuals that will be able to keep that report restricted. If you file a restricted report and the next day or the next month you decide that you want to change it to unrestricted, you do have that option. Also, keep in mind with filing a restricted report, the alleged offender will not be held accountable for their action. Unrestricted report, filing an unrestricted report of sexual assault, more people will know about the sexual assault, but those personnel will be only the ones that has a need to know. With a restricted report, you can report to your chain of command, to CID, the MPs, your SARC, or your victim advocate. With an unrestricted report, once you file unrestricted, you cannot later change it to a restricted report. Next slide. Okay, so this talks about who can accept the report. So as I stated with the restricted report, the only three personnel you can report to maintain a restricted report would be your sexual assault response coordinator, your victim advocate, or healthcare personnel. If you decide that you want to file unrestricted, then you can report to your chain of command, CID, legal, your SARC, victim advocate, or healthcare personnel. Next slide. Okay, so here's some resources that you can reach out to in reference to sexual assault and sexual harassment. Of course, you have your unit or your brigade SARC victim advocate. Here in the Fort Stewart area, we are all located in one building. It's building 620. And you can also reach out to the DoD Safe Helpline number. Now, when you call that number, they're going to get some information from you. You would tell them that you're in the Fort Stewart area, and they will contact the Fort Stewart hotline number. And the Military One Source, you can contact them as well, but please remember that if you contact Military One Source, they are mandated to report any reports of sexual assault. And this completes the brief on SHARP.
Good afternoon. My name is James Fleming, and I am the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield Financial Readiness Program Manager. And I'm going to discuss money management post-deployment and the services that your financial readiness team offers and how to contact us should you like to request assistance. First, I would like to say that we do provide our services virtually. So you can attend financial counseling through Zoom, telephonically if you would like, and in some instances, on scheduled appointments only, we will see our clients in the office. Next slide, please. All righty, money management post-deployment. What's important to keep in mind is that, usually during a deployment, your income changes. I think recently, if you were deployed, in some instances, soldiers have lost their BAS while deployed. Now they do pick up monies upon returning and filing the TDY paperwork. However, losing the BAS could be a big deal for some families. Okay, so now also if you are deployed into a combat zone or a tax exclusion zone, of course you will receive a windfall. That means you're in some instances you will not have to pay taxes, federal or state, while in a combat tax exclusion zone. But one thing to be mindful of or to be careful of is when you redeploy, that money will stop. And then, taxes will resume, or the tax deductions will resume. So you could go from earning anywhere from $1,000 to $1,700 a month while deployed, and you redeploy, then you will lose that $1,000 to $1,700 a month. And we just need to be mindful that, these things can occur. While you were deployed, and while you deployed, who was managing the finances? Were you in a spot to where, you had reliable internet and you could manage the finances yourself? Or if you were married, was your spouse managing the finances? So if your spouse was managing the finances, maybe your spouse manages the finances a little differently than you. Maybe have different styles, different personalities when it comes to spending money and what the money is spent on, right? So when you redeploy, take time to speak with your spouse. It will go a long ways, because people are different, and that will keep down on the I don't want to say fights, but it will tamper the conflicts. All right. So just take time to understand why the money was spent the way it was spent. Okay. And when you come back upon returning, now that you're back, rather, take time to ease back into it. As a recommendation, just don't grab the purse or the bank card and run with it. Right now, I'm back. I'm going to take over. Kind of ease into it, right, and kind of manage the money together. And if you were managing the money before you left, it doesn't always mean that you have to just take control and manage it while you're back. Just work with the spouse on it. It will make life a lot easier. I guarantee it. Impulse spending. Now that you've returned, maybe you were dreaming about that brand new Mustang or that Dodge Charger. I see plenty of them riding around the installations, right? And that's okay as long as you plan for it. As long as you plan for it. And impulse spending, that is you thought about it, but you didn't think about how you was going to pay for it or how you were going to go about purchasing, that vehicle, that boat, that motorcycle, I don't know, maybe a new pair of shoes. The thing is with money management is well, it's what it sounds like. You take time to figure out what you're going to do with the money. That way you will not deplete your savings, from your bank account, just focusing on what it is that you want to purchase. Now, I am not saying you can't buy the vehicle you want, the motorcycle you want, or anything else you would like to buy. But what I would welcome you to do is to come in and sit with a financial counselor. I go back to with an appointment, we can do the in person, but we also can do Zoom as well. And now Zoom has worked for our clients over the past year, because it eliminates the need for a babysitter if there are children involved. It eliminates the need, to get the children ready to bring them out, especially if it's raining, or I think fall started yesterday or today, or to get them all bundled up just to bring them out. When you can attend financial counseling right from your home. Okay, just something to think about. Now well, the next slide, we're not going to the next slide yet though, when we get to the next slide, I will explain the services that we offer, so that you will know and that you can use us in order to help you save some money and also make wise decisions when it comes to your money. Okay, and again, wise use of extra deployment money. You can use it, to invest, to save, as a down payment on the vehicle for school clothes. I know many school systems has returned to virtual, so maybe you will need a little extra money to purchase a new computer, or some accessories, maybe a desk and a chair. Just some things to think about. That's all this is some things to think about. And we will recommend you reevaluate/revise your spending plan. So if you're living on a monthly budget, adjust. The first thing you want to adjust is your income. If it changed, and then look at your spending. And see. You take a look at your spending to see where you want to be, and if the way you are currently, where you currently have your money budgeted, will it get you to where you want it to be, or do you need to make changes to your monthly budget or spend the plan? Next slide, please. All righty. The classes that we offer, money management, and budgeting, investing. Of course, we're always willing to provide you information on your TSP or your BRS, the thrift savings plan or the blended retirement system, car buying, home buying, credit reports and scores, credit building, / wise use of credit, and debt elimination / debt management. Money management and budgeting, we will sit with you again, and work with you, to construct a budget, that will get you to where you want to be. If you're looking to purchase anything, you're looking to pay for college, buy a house, you name it, we can help you with that. Same with investing. But investing, the TSP BRS, that will fall in with the investing, so we can assist you with all of those things. And car buying, I mentioned that Mustang or that Dodge Charger, and credit report and credit scores. If you intend to buy a new vehicle or a home, I certainly want to welcome you, to come in and speak with us or schedule an appointment to meet with a financial counselor, especially when it comes to car buying, because you have access to free copies of your credit reports and credit scores. Okay. Absolutely free of charge. And it comes from the big three, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. So you will know exactly what you're working with when you go out to purchase anything. And the nice part about this is that the counselor will actually provide you information, and let you know if you buy it right now, the type of deal you will receive. This knowing your credit score before you go out to purchase anything could be the difference between a 0.9% interest rate and in some instances 0% interest rates, as opposed to 18, 19, or I've seen as much as 28% interest rates on cars. Right? So, the service is available on the installation, both for Stewart and Hunter. Okay. Wise use of credit and to build credit, right? Credit cards. Credit cards can be an asset to anyone, as long as they are used properly. Now I'm sure many of you have heard this if you went through the training there in basic training or AIT. You can take a credit card and only use that credit card for your typical monthly spending. Like you can use your credit card to pay your electric bill, or buy gas, buy your groceries. When I say electric bill, all utilities can be included into that. Water, cable bills, you name it. But the key to this is, if your monthly spending, let's say it comes $300 a month. So with this credit card, you can use that to pay your utility bills. And if you pay your credit card bill on or before the due date, you will not pay any interest. So if you spend the $300 and you pay that $300 back on or before the due date, then you will not pay any interest. So you're breaking even. However, because you are using that credit card, it's reported to the credit reporting agencies, and that will help you build your credit. 100% guaranteed. And now, if you are looking to travel home or go on vacation, you can use that credit card. Now, I would highly recommend you put the money away. So if you're expecting to spend $1,500, $2,000 on a vacation, put that money to the side. You can use your credit card. However, remember what I was saying to you now. Take the money that you saved and pay the credit card off, and you can build credit that way. Fast and easy. Move on to debt management and debt elimination. There are, of course, multiple laws in place that prohibits debt collectors from doing certain things. Even with the original creditor, if you think or someone who is about to default on a loan, have them call the creditor and speak to the creditors. Original creditors, they will prefer not to give the loan to a debt collector. They will prefer to work it out. Now, again, you can always call us and schedule an appointment. Either we can bring you in the building, we can provide it telephonically, or, through Microsoft, or not Microsoft, but through Zoom. And if you have a place to a computer that you can use at work, you can do it through Teams, Microsoft Teams or Microsoft 365. Okay, but again, you do have people on the installation that can help you with anything you have that is concerning to you financially, on the installation. And we can do it in the class setting, or we offer one-on-one and couples financial counseling. So I mean, something to think about. That's something to think about, and it's free of charge. You should not go downtown to pay anyone, for any of the services that I've just listed, and all are not listed. So whatever it is financially, we can assist with. AER, Army Emergency Relief. AER assistance. If it's a loan, then of course there's no interest. It is no interest. However, we do provide grants in some situations. However, grants have to fit the have to eliminate the problem, or has to fix the problem. Okay, so when you request AER assistance, you are requesting AER assistance. The counselor will look at it. The counselor, they will automatically look at it and see if a grant will best fit the situation. AER assistance to apply, you will call, well, we'll get to that on the next page, how to contact us. If you've been in the Army for more than 12 months and you've not had any AER assistance, then it is not required by us that you go through your commander or first sergeant or go through your command team. You can come over and apply for AER assistance. However, if you've been in the Army for more than 12 months and you have already received in a 12-month time frame two AER assists, then it is required that you go back and seek your first sergeant's or commander's approval or recommendation. Okay. Now, if you've been in the Army for less than 12 months, then you must have your first sergeant's or commander's recommendation when it comes to AER assistance. This is AER I highly recommend, if you require financial assistance, to come to Army Emergency Relief to request AR assistance. Again, it is a no interest loan, and it could, you could wind up just receiving some free money. You know, it is a heck of a lot better than borrowing money and having to pay back money with interest. And we will tailor it, to make the payment usable to you. Okay. So for instance, if you borrowed $1,000 and you decided you want to pay it back $100 a month, well, of course, that will be $50 a paycheck, on the 1st and the 15th or the end of the month. Excuse me. It is a lot easier, than some may think, to receive AER assistance. Consumer complaints. Consumer complaints. We also assist with consumer complaints. We also have on the installation that meets quarterly, the Armed Forces Disciplinary Control Board, where you can lodge a complaint against a vendor or a lender or a rental agency. It is too easy. All you would have to do is contact us. Now, for our contact information, next slide, please. All righty. So on Fort Stewart, we're in building 201, building 86. Our phone numbers is 912-767-5058 or 5059. At Hunter Army Airfield, right? Just in case we have some people from Hunter here. Hunter Army Airfield is an ACS building 1286 up on Hunter 1286, and their number is 912-315-6816. Okay. And again, if you have any questions, call us. Feel free to reach out. Okay. Thank you for your service. Welcome back. And thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, everyone. Next slide. My name is Tim Cray. Just to introduce you to the mobilization and deployment of Army Community Service, we have Ms. Tanya Imus. She's the program manager. We have a contact number, the 912-321-7789. That is the mobile number. 912-767-1257. That is the office number. Feel free to utilize it. We also have Ms. Tanya Imus, the program manager's email address, and we're accompanied by our specialist, Ms. Evie Rodriguez, and myself, Tim Cray, of Mobilization and Deployment. Next slide. Let's talk about change real quick. We won't spend much time on it, but what we are going through right now is change. So why not have that conversation? Change, make or become different, or becoming different. Either way it go, right now we fit in one or the other category. We're constantly going through changes. Those of you that have families, spouses, or significant other, if we met them already, we had plans before, we got plans now, and we're going to continue to have plans, especially with the next couple of weeks. It's just normal. Next slide. This is just a photo that illustrates how we embrace that change. And that's why I didn't want to talk about it too much on that previous slide. But with the changes that we're going through, a lot of individuals that have pets, now that we're back, we get around our pets, even your pets don't recognize you. So we have to be aware of that. That is a change. There's a you may have plans to, hey, we wasn't able to take this vacation before. Um, I was called up, but now that I'm back, I have a few extra pennies. We're going to take this vacation. Be careful. Be careful. Finance spoke on it earlier. Um, take advantage of that change to sit back and put things together. What's better for the entire family? Make that change. I'm not saying that there was that you're only thinking about yourself, but we're looking at funds that we have saved up or we have in our account. Now we want to do, and that's spending those funds. Take a moment, sit back, do that budgets, see what's going on, see what's best with for those funds for the entire family. Next slide. Love this slide. Extraordinary versus everyday resiliency. What a slow boil challenge. Let's talk about that slow boil. Are you aware that you can take a live frog, then you can put a frog in a pot of water on a stove and gradually turn the heat up, and that frog will sit there until the worst case scenario? But if you take a live frog and try and put that frog in a boiling pot of water, the muscles of that frog are going to automatically attempt to jump out. So the slow, what are we saying here with this slow boil? What we are saying is if you have something that's keeping you up at night, that's bothering you during the day, these are our slow boils. Don't let it just sit there and fester. Right? Continue to heat up and heat up. Go ahead and seek some type of resolution for it. Whether that's speaking to a counselor. We have professionals right here, Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield. Most active duty military installation have professionals that you could talk to, professional counselors that we can speak to. With the next 180 or 6 months, if you need to speak with a counselor, and near active duty installation, speak with a counselor such as a military family life consultant. Talk with a chaplain, a post chaplain. But what you want to do is go ahead and start dealing with that situation instead of waiting until that water heats up or that situation gets out of control that makes you react. Other words, we want to think before we react. If you wait until the water is boiling, you'll be like that frog. You'll react without thinking. Next slide. Bad day versus bad 5 minutes. Perfect scenario. Okay. I was late for PT, physical training, due to the fact my alarm didn't go off. Okay, now I wind up in the first sergeant major's office. Get my warning. It wasn't good. Other words, don't let, because your alarm didn't go off, had you late, had to talk to the first sergeant commander, don't let that mess up your whole day. Don't let that mess up your whole day. Hey, look at it as, hey, 5 minutes talking with the first sergeant commander, got my warning, out the office. I got the rest of the day in front of me to make good. So just remember, don't let things get under you, under your skin. A 5-minute situation, alarm clock didn't go off. 5-minute situation mess up your whole day. You got that whole day to straighten that out. I often tell individuals I enjoy Monday mornings. Monday mornings, that's the beginning of the week. If anything could go wrong, I would rather for it to go wrong on Monday. I got the entire week to get it straight. So I like Mondays. Communication. Make sure, especially those individuals that are married or have a significant other, make sure you communicate with one another. Now, communication do not mean you go back in your household using all the acronyms you use with your coworkers. Because most households, they only understand one acronym. That's LES. That's that leave earning statement. Most households understand that acronym, but the rest, these other thousands of acronyms that we use throughout a day or a work week, or that we've been using since we've been gone and now that we're back, it's in our system. So remember where you're at, who you're talking to, whether or not it's a spouse, significant other, mom, dad, sister, brother, but they're on the civilian side. They don't understand the acronyms. They don't understand them. So just back up, take a breath, remember where you're at, who you're talking to, and I say, hey, speak the civilian language, not the military language. When you come back to work, speak the military language, not the civilian language. Now, a lot of us are going back to a civilian job. Don't get caught up where military acronyms create a bad communication situation within your job, because they're giving you something that'll get under your skin, but it'll be something that we did. It would be lack of communication. And seek support early on. That's dealing with those counselors. If you reach the point that you need to talk with someone, we have chaplains, counselors that you can contact. Military family life consultant. You can set up an appointment, set something up with those individuals. Next slide. Now I got 2 slides here. We're going to combine these into one. Won't take that long. Are you aware that the big Army tells us that for every month that you were away, that you should take 1 week to adjust? What type of adjustments are we doing? Okay, 2 categories here. Those with the families, that spouse or significant other, those that want to say, okay, we're single. You can be single and still have others that you communicate with. You might not spend that time with, but you can have those that you spend time with, mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, auntie, that fiance. These individuals, you are single, but you spend time with them. Okay, here with the married individuals, we're planning that vacation. I've been gone, say 12 months, just using that. Well, we'll say 10 months, easy to calculate. That would mean that I would need 10 weeks to adjust. Getting rid of those acronyms. Remember where and who I'm talking to at all times. Knowing that, hey, if I'm back in my civilian sector around the job or in my household around my family, I don't need to use as many acronyms, if any, at all. That's part of that adjustment. The big Army tells us to be careful with out-of-town trips, taking vacations. Yeah, we kind of look forward to it. But if you haven't taken that time to adjust and got that down pat, you can run into bad communication, overspending. Yes, overspending is part of adjustment. So if you haven't taken time to make those adjustments in your household, remember that rule. Every month I was away, I should take 1 week to adjust. And if you haven't taken that time, you might want to think about it. Next slide. One more thing that I wanted to bring up with these 2 slides. Now, Big Army puts this out. Army Community Service didn't. Absolutely no out-of-town guests. We've been gone for a while. Now that we're back, we might have individuals wherever you're at, you may have individuals that want to come and visit you. That mom, dad, that sister, brother. But Big Army say, not quite yet. There's some adjustments that need to be made first, need to be looked into first. Some may say, well, I already have it down pat. I'm good. I got it. I can think of this. Well, just try it. Practice it before. We only wanted to bring this to your attention because we've seen some real horrible things that come out of rushing back into trying to create a normal life. Often tell individuals, forget normal. It's a new norm. That's what we're running into. Next slide. Busy slide. Don't strain your eyes. I'm going to run it down to you. From pre-deployment to post-deployment. Where we're at right now, post-deployment. We want to connect some emotions to our post-deployment. We're back now. Everything is good. And I will add, take advantage of it. But everything is good. Those individuals with a spouse, significant other, they'll tell you, everything is good. I'm having it my way. On the other hand, the single individuals, fiancés, mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, auntie, even there said everything is good. Everybody smile, happy. We call it the honeymoon phase. That's what it is. Everything is going your way. I'll tell you what, talk to a couple married individuals. They'll tell you after about 2 weeks, done deal. That's over with. Honeymoon phase is over with. Now reality began to set in. And guess what? Now that you are back, you're still appreciating and enjoying that honeymoon phase. But the others, they realize life has to go on. We still got to go shopping for food. We still got to pay bills. And now that you're back, vehicles got to be cleaned up. We need a new lawnmower. Reality kicks in. Honeymoon phase is over. Watch that honeymoon phase. Don't let it get you trapped in this post-deployment phase. Don't let it get you trapped. You'll get used to that, having everything your way. Don't go there. Be aware of it, but do take advantage of it while you can. Next slide. This is our QR code. Feel free to take a photo of it. It brings you directly into mobilization and deployment. ICE comment section where you can leave a digital comment. Give us more feedback, what we need to talk about, what we didn't talk about, what we need to add, what we need to take away, that type of information. And we want to thank you for your service. Next slide. Thank you for your service and your time, and we hope everything work out.